Over 200 of you have joined us for the end of summer granny blanket crochet along, and I couldn't be more excited. If you missed my first 2 videos and you have no idea what's going on, don't worry, it's still not too late to join. We are currently in week 2 of the crochet along, and this week is all about relaxing and making our granny squares. So if you're not already, come crochet along right with us. Everyone, Brittany here from Just Be Crafty. If you're new here, welcome, and if not, thank you so much for coming back. We are now in week 2 of the end of summer granny blanket crochet along, and we are having so much fun. We're going to think of this week as relaxing with our granny squares. We're sitting in our cabanas. We have our fruity little drink, which the official mocktail of the crochet along is the fruity coconut cooler, which is delicious. An email should have gone out. If you haven't received that email yet, it takes a little bit of time for the email to go out. So if you haven't received it yet, you should be getting it within the next 20 minutes of watching this video, if you're watching the video as soon as I post it. And if it's been more time than that and you know you signed up for the crochet along and you still can't find the email, make sure you check your spam folder or any other folders that your email might automatically filter to. Gmail is a huge culprit for this, where they just filter your emails without you doing anything. My email to you could have gone to promotions, it could have gone to the socials tab. Hopefully it goes to your main inbox, but if not, it could also be in your spam folder. So if you have another email like Yahoo or I don't know, MSN or something like that, it may be a little bit different. I'm more familiar with Gmail. I know a lot of the emails that we use, it does filter the emails that you get to help make sure that the emails from me are going to your actual inbox and not being filtered to somewhere weird or go to spam. Make sure you add me as a contact, and then that way anything I send you will go directly to your main email, so that way you can find those emails. Anyway, enough about emails. So like I said, we're sitting in our cabana, we're relaxing with our fruity little drink, and we have our crochet granny squares in hand. We're just simply working on our squares. Maybe we're sightseeing if we feel like it, but mostly we're just kind of perched out at the pool and we are crocheting on our granny squares, relaxing and just having a grand old time. So that's kind of our mood and vibe for week 2. The focus of week 2 is just simply crocheting our squares. We're not worrying about joining them. We're not worrying about anything else other than just crocheting the squares. I will say I have fallen a little bit behind on weaving in my ends as I go. I have 40 squares completely done that their ends are weaved in. I have not blocked them, and I know I should, and I totally recommend that you block yours, but I don't know if this is going to be a situation where I do as I say here, just because there are so many squares that I'm making and I'm finding that I'm starting to fall behind even though I already have a bunch of squares made. So yeah, weaving in the ends just takes so much time. I might be better off just to continue crocheting the squares and then worrying about weaving in my ends a little bit later or until I get caught up. I've been having so much fun seeing your updates in the Facebook group. I've been loving your check-ins, letting everyone know kind of how you're doing and where you're at. They've been really, really fun to see. So if you haven't already, I highly encourage you to go and do the same and to leave a like and comment on someone else's post and help encourage them as well. I know we have a few of you are making the Dainty Daisy Granny Square right along with me. And then the next most popular one is the Circle to Square Granny Square. So I know some of you are doing that one. And then a few of you are doing the Raspberry Sprinkle Granny Square. Anyway, it's been really fun to chit chat about our progress. As promised, we are going to do a weekly check-in. So here are my questions for you. How's it going so far? Have you picked up any tips or tricks along the way? Do you have any questions, or is there any spots where you just feel like you're getting stuck? And what's been your favorite part of the cow so far? Those are the questions, so feel free to answer in the comments below or simply share the Facebook group. Let's chat about my progress so far. I have this stack of squares, which I have 21 right here, ends not woven in yet. And then behind me, I'm not going to hold them all up, but I have 40 of these where the ends are already woven in, which is very nice. So I have 40. So let me grab my phone. We are going to count how many squares I have. I have 21 with the ends not yet woven in. So 21 plus, behind me I have 40 done. That brings me to 61. And then I have, how many did I have over here? I have 15 partially done that are sitting over here. They just have the centers and then the petals. So I have 15 of those, so I'm going to add 15. Okay, we're at 76. And then right down here, we have all of these squares that are already made. So what I have to do is I have to frog all of this brown, all of the connecting. So like I just have to frog the join as you go and release these little baby squares. So I have 66 squares already made plus 66. Okay, so my grand total is 142 squares that are already done. So I am almost halfway done crocheting my squares. My total squares that I need is 320 minus, oh, you know what, and I'm not gonna count these 15. Shoot, I did that wrong. So I'm not going to count these. I think I might have. So I have 66 squares that are already done that are attached to that blanket that I have to unattach. Then I have 21 squares right here that I still need to weave in the ends. And then I have 40 squares. Okay, all right, so I'm not almost halfway done. I have 127 squares completely done. I need 320 total squares minus the 127 that I have done. And that brings me to 193 squares that I need to try to finish this week. So I'm going to divide that by 7. And so now my daily total that I need to hit is 27 and a half squares. So that means that I need to do about 28 squares every day this week to have the right number to be done by the end of this week. So do I need to be done with all my squares at the end of the week? No, but that is going to be a stretch goal for me because I think it'll just be easier if I get them all done. Because like I said before in the first video, I am taking a small trip in the 3rd week, but that won't affect the crochet along at all. I'm still going to be checking in with you. Nothing is going to change, but I just like won't be at home for a couple days. I literally will be on like a little bit of a getaway, but yeah. So I really, I feel like I sounded like Zoolander for a second, but I really want to get these done. So I am going to try my absolute hardest to get this done this week so that way, or no, am I leaving? When am I leaving? No, I'll be leaving the 4th week. I'll be leaving the 4th week. I don't know. Well, I can't like, I feel like I just can't think while I'm on the spot right now. I do know that I'm leaving for a few days during the crochet along. It might actually be in the 4th week. I think it is actually in the 4th week. So, regardless, I just want to try to get my squares done as fast as possible. But that is all to say, if you have fallen behind, do not worry about it. Don't worry about it because you know what? Even I'm going to say this, I fell behind and I have the amount of squares that I have crocheted because I made 21 squares plus 40. I made 61 squares this week, which I am super proud of. I would not have made 61 squares if we weren't doing this crochet along. So if you have made 30 squares, if you've made 10 squares, if you've made 2 squares, pat yourself on the back, just take a second and congratulate yourself because that's more squares than what you would have had if we weren't doing the crochet along at all. Regardless of where you're at, maybe you're further, maybe you're further behind, be proud of your progress. This week's tip is that dedicating small pockets of time, like even just 5 to 10 minutes here and there of crocheting your squares during the day can add up to a lot of granny squares. And to really kind of drive that point home, I want to address our phone. So I am going to just take a gander, and I encourage you to do this too. If you have an iPhone, I know you can do this. If you don't, I imagine there's a way. We're going to be looking at our screen time, people. We're going to look at our screen time. I feel like I will tell myself, I don't have time to crochet. I don't have time to crochet. I don't know how other people get so much done. I just don't get it. I don't have time to crochet. And you may be thinking the same thing too, but we are going to together, we're going to check our screen time. I am easily able to just check this. It's like on my home screen, but if you can search your apps that you have or the programs that you have on your phone, search for screen time. But in iPhone, there is a screen time application that iPhone just has automatically built in, so you can check this out. But I'm going to show you my average screen time use that I was on my phone for the week of August 10th to August 17th was 2 hours and 9 minutes a day. Last week, my average was 2 hours and 48 minutes a day. So if we think about that in terms of crochet, can you imagine if the amount of time that I used crocheting, the time that I had already dedicated to crocheting last week, plus that 2 hours and 48 minutes that I used just scrolling on my phone, the amount of squares that I would have done. So I feel like when I feel like I just don't have enough time for something in the day, looking at my screen time average, like for a week, really kind of helps put things into perspective. I will say that I do have to kind of be on my phone for my job. There's some of that time that I do have to do a little bit of editing or messing around on my phone for my job, but I do think that my screen time is a little bit below average from most people. I know people younger than me definitely have way higher screen time, and I do think that people my age and older than me likely do have more screen time. I don't like being tied to my phone, and I'm not trying to sound all high and mighty, I promise, but to be honest, my phone gives me anxiety, and I just feel like being tied to it just stresses me out. So I will put my phone on its little charger in my bedroom, and it will sit there for hours sometimes. So I really don't like being constantly on my phone. But yeah. So if you just take a gander at that and just kind of have that into perspective. Now, I'm not trying to say don't look at your phone, don't scroll on your phone, because I definitely do too. But if you think like, okay, well, maybe if I cut that time in half, if every time I got that urge to scroll on my phone, if I pulled out my crochet hook and my squares, how much further along would I get? That's really just something to keep in mind, because 5 minutes, that 5-minute scroll, well, if I was 5, 10, 30 minute, yikes, scroll on my phone, if I were crocheting each time that happened, I'm just saying that time does add up. So it's just something to keep in mind. I just found that to be really, really interesting. I think this week, along with just crocheting my squares, I want to really be mindful of how much time I'm sinking into my phone, and feeling when I do get that urge to just crochet on my squares instead, or even just do something a little bit more productive in general. I'm definitely going to check in with you later during the week, for sure in the Facebook group, and let you know how that's going for me, to see if I really am finding myself switching to my crochet hook after I consciously, I'm gonna really try to be mindful about when I get that urge to pick up my phone and I pick it up, to be crocheting your squares. And I may even add a background. So every time I open up my phone, I see, put this down, crocheting your squares instead. Yeah, I actually think I might do that, because I feel like if I could just shave off an hour off of my phone and put that hour towards crocheting my squares instead, that would make a huge, huge difference. So yeah, it's just something to be mindful of. But yeah, there's a lot of things I feel like I don't have time for, and if I just am more mindful about my screen time, I think that I can definitely make more time for other things. So again, if you don't have an iPhone, I don't know exactly how that works. I imagine that all the phones have some sort of screen time monitor app built in, but I'm not sure. For sure, I know iPhone does. Next week, the tutorial for Join As You Go will be coming out, which is, I've shown this a million times, but that is what this looks like. You just basically crochet the squares together as you go, and it's such a nice technique. And as you go, it does add an extra granny round, which is really nice. And I love the finished look of this. So next week in week 3, we're going to do a deep dive on Join As You Go. I'm going to share a tutorial, so you have that to look forward to. This technique that I am sharing will not work for the circle to square granny square because it's a solid granny square. However, it will work for the Dainty Daisy granny square and the raspberry granny square, just because they are the classic granny squares that have the granny clusters. I'm using this, right here. The circle to square granny square, which you can see right here, it is a solid granny square and doesn't have those little clusters like a classic granny square. That is what we are going to be looking at in week 3. Week 3 is going, like I said, we're going to be continuing, maybe starting to think about finishing up our squares if we can, and we're going to start thinking about joining. So if you are making the Dainty Daisy, you don't have to think about layout unless you are doing, multiple color squares. The layout will the most layout planning will be with the circle to square granny squares. So if you're following my pattern to a T, I have my schematic where I show the order of the colors that I did for my blanket. But you can of course get creative and arrange your squares however you would like. And then this one, the raspberry sprinkle granny square blanket, this is just arranged in a checkerboard. Pretty much, so all of the colorful squares are exactly the same, and all of of course, the white squares are exactly the same. It's just arranged in a checkerboard fashion, which when you would do Join As You Go, so if you would pick Join As You Go for the raspberry sprinkle granny square blanket, you'll just have to be a little bit more mindful of which square you grab next. So yeah, it will just take just a smidge more brain power than for the Dainty Daisy if you're just making all of your daisy squares one color. That's what we have to look forward to in week 3, and I can't wait for that. If you haven't already signed up for the crochet along, don't worry, you're not too late. We are simply just starting week 2. There's still plenty of time for you to join in on the fun. I'll have the QR code up here for the crochet along information page. You'll find everything that you need there, the patterns that we're making, the links to sign up, everything that you need. So that's right here. So you can scan that QR code now. You can scan this QR code. This takes you directly to the sign up page. So you just sign up and you'll instantly get an email from me with your itinerary. So you can know what to expect for these next few weeks. That's it. Scan one or both of these QR codes. Both of them will honestly give you all the information and get you up to speed. Or I will have both of these links linked in the description box below. You can, if you are having a hard time finding it, just scroll below this video. You should either see a link that says learn more or read more or just more or description box. There will be a link, and then you will find all the information that you need. Right in there, I will have everything that you need. You'll also want to go back and check out the 2 videos that I had already posted in case you missed those as well. I did an intro video that talked about everything that you need to know for the cowl, so you can watch that video. I'll have that linked up here. You can also watch the week 1 video. So I will have that linked up here as well. Those will also be linked in the description box below. So if you didn't check those out, be sure to check out those videos first. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Again, week 2 is all about just crocheting our squares and just trucking along basically. And remember, we're sitting in our cabana, we're sightseeing when we feel like it. We have our fun little fruity beverage concoction, and we're having fun. We're having fun on our crochet granny blanket getaway. If you haven't already, make sure you join the Facebook group. If you've already started and you're kind of wishing that you grabbed the printable version of the pattern or maybe even the pattern bundle, go ahead and do that. Still not too late for that. All those links will be in the description box below. Just make sure you pop into the Facebook group, share your progress, and let us know how you're doing. I can't wait to see your squares. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a new video, including the next video, which will be the week 3 video for the crochet along. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.